Well, next tonight, the stop and search powers given to police to prevent serious violence. Section 60 orders, they're not used often in this region, and they are controversial, with campaigners claiming they're ineffective and damaging. But police in Milton Keynes have used them 4 times in 4 weeks as they try to get a grip on a spate of knife crime in the town. Sam Reed's report begins with a reenactment of an attack there.
What, you got a problem?
Knife crime is something too many young people know about. To try and open a conversation, this is one of the short films a group in Milton Keynes have put together, addressing an issue that's often on their minds.
My mum would be worried for me walking home by myself because anyone could just whip out a knife.
Think about the times I've been nervous to walk to the shop by myself.
The director behind the project says young people are dying too close to home.
We must protect our children and we must care, because a lot of the time as well I find that some people feel like life crime is far away from them. It doesn't affect them, but it does. It does. It affects all of us because we're a community.
What can the authorities do? In one incident last month, up to 30 men were spotted fighting at this play park with blades and bricks. It led to police giving themselves extra powers to stop and search people in the area under what's called a Section 60 order. They're in place for a set period of time. Usually, if officers want to stop and search somebody, they need reasonable grounds to suspect a crime. But if a police force puts a Section 60 order in place, anyone can be stopped. In Milton Keynes, these orders were used 4 times in one 4-week period across June and July. In contrast, across the same period, none of our other forces used one of these orders at all. Some campaign groups worry about their use.
We know that 99% of stop and searches using this power do not result in an arrest for weapons, so they're ineffective. But as well as that, they're also harmful. We know that stopping and searching people without reasonable grounds can lead to lack of trust and confidence in the police, particularly because we know that black people are 18 times more likely to be stopped and searched under these powers.
That concern is borne out by Abdullahi. He's 18 and been stopped twice under regular stop and search powers.
Nowadays, I have not as much trust anymore. I know they're dealing with all sorts of criminals, and you're on the job and you have to face different people every day, and you have to be hostile. But they shouldn't be as hostile when it comes to the citizens, especially kids my age.
So it worked, and there weren't any other instances of violence.
Police say the powers have stopped repeat incidents.
These are targeted, they're not generic. And I guess the key trick for me is to make sure we're proportionate in the way that we use it. So, that we have police officers in that area, but I also want to make sure that, we're accountable to local communities when we use that. So one of the ways I'll do that is by talk to the independent advisory group, get feedback from them about how we use stop and search.
Last month, the Prime Minister announced previous moves to make it easier to use Section 60 powers would now be permanent. That's welcomed by the local Police and Crime Commissioner.
It's about making sure that power is readily available, because we do see the benefits. It is only one of those tools in the armoury that the police have. It must be intelligence-led wherever possible, and that intelligence gathering is probably the most useful tool.
Films like these are another reminder knife crime's a live issue, but the use of stop and search will continue to be debated.
So, Sam, these powers, they're being used more often in Milton Keynes, but does that actually mean more people are being stopped and searched?
Yeah, well, I've been looking into this because these orders are not given regularly generally, not at all in Hertfordshire, for example, in the last 9 months. But when we had this little flurry of them in Milton Keynes, it didn't mean people were being stopped all over the place. In fact, over 3 months, 15 people were stopped and searched under these Section 60 powers. And of those 15 people, 3 were suspected of a crime. But as you saw in my piece, the government reinforcing its support for them last month, the Prime Minister saying they play an important part in fighting crime. But of course, by the time you get to the point of stopping people searching for weapons, it's all gone too far, really. It would be better if they just weren't the same number of people carrying these weapons in the first place. And tomorrow on Look East, we'll be looking at one project in Milton Keynes, which is aiming to work with children and young people at an earlier age to help and make sure things don't go too far.